Board of County Commissioners is now back in session. Next up would be the planning and zoning report.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. The first item was a critical shoreline application, consideration of a request for the Dog Island Yacht Club maintenance dredging project. The spoil cell location is 50 feet landward of the mean high water line.
Outside the critical habitat.
To comply with the Franklin County regulations while minimizing impacts to existing vegetation and parking facilities and utilizing uplands. No dredge material will be deposited within 15 feet of the mean high water line. The request is being submitted by Albert Peppers of Florida Environmental and Land, that should be Land Services. She's the agent for the Dog Island Yacht Club.
She was here.
Oh,
Not here
okay.
now.
Pleasure of the board.
She's not here?
No, I don't see Elvin anyway. And this is Dog Island Conservation District anyway, and
Yes,
a lot of it's nature conservancy also. I'm gonna go ahead and make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion on the board by Commissioner Sanders, second by Commissioner Massey. Any further discussion? All those in favor? All opposed? That motion carries.
Next item was a sketch plat application. It's consideration of a request for sketch replat approval to combine lots 40, 54, and 55 of Plantation Beach Village as one unit subdivision named Prince Beach Properties. This request was submitted by Thurman Roddenberry, the agent for Elizabeth Morris Prince, the owner.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
can I ask a question?
sure.
Ma'am.
Is this gonna be, one unit for the two lots?
Yes, it is. That's what was discussed at the
Okay, so it's gonna be one unit for the two lots?
planning and zoning. Yes, ma'am. Let me,
Yes, they're doing this to combine for one tax deed and one building site.
yes.
Okay,
So if I want like with one tax deed, yes, ma'am.
okay.
Sorry, just think through that. Look at my notes, actually.
I'll defer to the commissioner of that district.
Explain to me exactly, I'm not catching everything you're saying is gonna be done here, sorry. I'm trying to actually find it and I haven't found it yet.
You're actually combining two lots, making a bigger home site, but you're reducing density from potentially two home sites down to one home site.
Okay,
Which
So
we've
it's
got
a-
supported.
Huh?
yeah, so it's actually doing
Right.
what we done about, well, 2 weeks or a month ago and made it. Okay,
That's
yeah,
done.
I'm
Might
good.
it there,
Okay, I'm good. Yeah, I'll make that motion. That's not.
We have a motion by Commissioner Jones, second by Commissioner Lockley. Any further discussion? All those in favor? All opposed? That motion carries also.
All right, next we have final plat application. Consideration of a request for final replat approval of a 7-lot subdivision within Resort Village, named Resort Village 2. The replat consists of lots 1, 2, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, and 26 of Resort Village. Replacing those lots would be lots 1 through 7 of Resort Village 2, a 7-lot subdivision. This request was submitted by Barbara Sanders. She is the agent for SGI Limited Partnership. We did something similar, was it last month? Something like this?
This is the final.
This is the final
Final plat of
plat.
that, what we did, an action we took, sorry.
So you're actually taking 14 lots and making 7 lots, which is basically what we did
Yeah.
with the previous motion.
Yes.
And this again is in your district, Commissioner Jones.
Okay.
Any
So,
questions?
no, I don't have any questions.
Okay, this is the final plat, you've already done the
The
sketch.
sketch plat, yes, sir.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion that we.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Jones, second by Commissioner Lockley. Any further discussion on this issue? All those in favor? All opposed? That motion carries also.
Thank you.
Now, during the meeting, and Commissioner Sanders, you brought it up the last time we had this, the Planning and Zoning Commission would like the board to start considering an ordinance of some sort to regulate how far out someone could build a dock. If you remember last time, we were worried about that one dock that was going to be built was making the waterway too narrow, navigational way too. So they want at some point, it's a recommendation from them for this board to start thinking about that and moving in the direction of creating an ordinance for that. So that could be discussed at some other time.
I would like to see someone make a motion directing the attorney to move forward with that issue. If you don't, you're gonna make these waterways, and it could be somebody at the beginning of the waterway instead of the inland side that can't access
Yeah.
their properties because you got something built too far out in the canals and it's been too constrictive.
And right now, it's okay, but then what could happen if we don't regulate, it becomes like a zigzag type of thing, and then somebody builds further out, like you said, and the other person, it
And
creates an
I
issue.
noticed it also says in here she contacted DEP and however he said generally DEP follows the guideline that a structure cannot extend more than 25% of the width of the waterway on which the structure is located. So if you do that on both sides, you're occupying 50% of the waterway. That only allows 50% of the waterway left for navigation
Navigate, yes,
purposes.
sir.
So I think that's a good idea, and I think we need to move forward on that.
And, Mr. Chairman, if I may, that's what, the last couple ones that we've had down at Alligator Point on those canals, that's what's got me worried, is one of them, you know, you can see that they can get there now, but if that other person was to do a dock, it'd be a mess that down there, so. I'm gonna go
Or a
ahead-
boat lift, or,
Mhm. I'm gonna go ahead and, make a motion that we ask the attorney to follow through on this.
Second.
we have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Sanders, second by Commissioner Lockley. Any further discussion on the issue? If no further discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The motion carries.
Mr. Chairman, clarification, is this limiting the length of docks just in canals or docks going out into, say, the open waters of Appalachia Bay, Apalachicola Bay?
What was
So I don't know.
They're specifically relating to canals.
Because the problem with limiting docks is the DEP has standards for amount of water at the end of the dock, and so you're never gonna know where that depth will be.
That's right.
Maybe it's site specific.
That's keep from dredging the grass beds and other things.
They're saying that develop an ordinance establishing guidelines that would limit the maximum coverage of a natural or man-made, to no more than 25% of the width of the waterway.
Okay, Mr. Morone?
Okay, and the final item was Mr. George Floyd's planning and zoning, thing, which needs to be tabled because until we get the variance worked out, one way or the other, we can't proceed with this one. So I would need a motion to table until
Yes.
that's done.
Motion to table.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Lockley.
Second.
Have a second by Commissioner Jones. Any further discussion? All those in favor? All opposed? That motion carries.
All right, and that's it for the planning and zoning report.
That's it.
Okay. Next on the agenda would be Ms. Marsha Johnson. Clerk has no report. Next would be Mr. Allen Pierce, Restore Coordinator.
Yes, okay, today I'm not going to read everything like I normally do since we've been here a long time, so let me just summarize the first two items, which are a full-length page. First item is comments I already made to the legislative delegation meeting a couple nights ago. And I'll just say that the number one item we currently have, and you all know, is a $500,000 historic preservation grant for the Armory that we need legislative support, because if that doesn't get approved, then we will be facing an issue potentially with the fire marshal about occupancy levels in the Armory. So we'll get that resolved if we get the grant, then we put a sprinkler system in, no issues. If we don't get the grant, then we have an issue with the state fire marshal. Now, how rigorous he will be, or whoever the fire marshal will be at the time, that'll come later, but we need that grant. So that was my number one request, and they seem supportive of that. Number two is actually already been resolved. It'll be on Mr. Marone's report in a few minutes. We finally did get our FERDAP grant application for last year's legislative appropriation. So whether it came on its own accord or because our legislators were called, I don't know, but it did show up, and it's before you all to get signed in just a few minutes. Number C, we did ask for money last year that hasn't been spent yet. That's for the relocate the IFAS office. We hope that gets resolved, but this IFAS is looking at a new building, or another building, I should say, in Apalachicola, and they're trying to figure out their budget, how much money they have available, and all this kind of stuff. So that's still floating out there. And then lastly, I asked to support, I didn't ask this, I gave appreciation for the delegation for supporting the Triumph Fund staying in the Panhandle, and they seem very eager to continue that money. The legislature, to give you an update, has $428 million in this year to allocate to the Triumph Committee, and if they do that, then the Triumph Committee will be able to appropriate money for projects in the Panhandle. Now, we don't know if the legislature will do it or not, but the money finally is in the legislature's hands, and so it's up to them this session to do something. And we'll see what happens there. Item number two, just briefly, there is a Restore committee meeting tonight that I'm going to attend, and we're going to begin to talk about criteria for how we rank projects, but I just gave you an update on from other counties and where they're at, and essentially, every county is still having problems with treasury. So while other counties have their multi-year implementation plan approved, at this point, I don't know if anybody is actually spending money on projects. It's just a very slow process. Treasury is the last agency you want to hand out money because they usually either collect money or they print money, but they don't ever hand it out. And so it's been very difficult to get Treasury to give out grants. And it's just.
Where that meeting gonna be at,
I'm pardon, sir?
the night,
It'll be right here, 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock?
Yeah. And it'll be a meeting to talk about the beginning of what kind of criteria we want to use to rank our committees, just the very beginning meeting. And hopefully it won't last more than an hour. Number 3, inform the board and the public that Clay Kennedy and I actually will be going to Alligator Point tomorrow to meet with FEMA. There's some new people from FEMA coming down to look at the Alligator Point Road and see if we can get some resolution of what they're going to support. We're going to present the proposal we have, which is to put more armoring down there, and we'll see. I sent FEMA the notice I gave you all regarding the $3.7 million of public funds been spent over the last 30 years trying to protect that road, and we'll see if they have any more questions about that. We just won't know until we get there. But number 4, I do have a request for a board action. I put it on the wall here. Present board with the final site plan for the improvements at Island View Park. The major change in the park is that DOT disallowed the second access point on the east end. They did agree to a deceleration lane to get vehicles out of the flow of traffic, but they only approved one access point. Mr. Doug Hadaway of TPL hopes they will be going to bid on the construction next few months. All the costs for improvements shown in the site plan are coming out of state and federal money, but it is a county park and will be a county park when it's done. So I just will briefly go over the changes and ask you all. There's no big change in the site plan except the access point, and that's something that DOT just said no on. At one point, we had the main entrance here, then we had a secondary entrance coming over here, and DOT said, no, you can't have 2 entrances on that curve, you can't have 2 entrances so close to one another. So they disallowed that. So by disallowing that, we did shrink down the parking area. There's no need to have it continue all the way over there. And so basically, we are doing what you all know about. We're rehabbing the 2 existing piers for fishing, cast netting.
And ADA compliant.
Yes, ADA compliant, rehabbing both those piers. There is a boardwalk so people can walk on something other than the dirt connecting the 2. There's a small gazebo here, a little bit of seating area and some educational kiosks there, and then the parking lot. And that's what we're going to get on the south side. On the north side, which I didn't bother to show you, is just going to be vegetation. They're going to be planting trees up there, reestablishing a natural forest on the north side. And someday, of course, we hope that maybe this road disappears and these 2 parcels will be connected together. We haven't quite worked all that out, but that's a goal of mine and Commissioner Sanders anyway, to try and get these parcels connected together, and we'll see if we can work that out. But at this point, the site plan is reduced to what we have here. You know, this is all money there was money coming to the state of Florida. They were eager. The timing was perfect. Commissioner Jones, it happened before you got elected. But the timing was perfect. We went and got a grant with Commissioner Sanders' support. We got a grant to buy this land. Then about 6 months after we bought it, the state of Florida comes along and says, hey, we'd like to take credit for what you bought with our negotiations with BP. So the state of Florida negotiated improvements on this park using someone else's money, but we'll be the beneficiary of this, the recipient of it. So unless there's any questions, it's a pretty simple site plan, and it'll be ours, and we'll get 10 years worth of maintenance money out of DEP once this is finished.
Clay, let me ask you something. Clay Small was out here. Come here. Let me ask you something. Have you reviewed that Alan has got right up there? Can you review it? Because you know one of my concerns was that L's Court curve, which you've got right there, and I know they've made a turn lane into it. It should help the problem. But can you evaluate that and see if it will, minimize somewhat that problem right in there? Because that is a bad area. We've lost a lot of people.
Let me ask this, I certainly want his support and review. If we can do it contingent on him giving me his opinion about it, if he feels it makes us safe, because we're looking to try and go out to bid on this thing.
Oh, I know. I mean, I'm not gonna let you hold it up. I just want, no, I mean, that's not it. I want him to look at it and tell us if we need to do more to enhance it later on down the road.
Okay.
That's what it is. Oh, I'm not gonna hold the project up. We've been holding it up for 4 years. But,
Might wanna do it like they done now over in Wakulla,
mhm.
with that curve and made it straight out in front of the school.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is all negotiated with the engineers for the project and DOT, so this is the turn lane that DOT approved.
Yeah. You need that to,
Yes,
oh,
ma'am.
okay. Okay, well,
Contingent upon
we'll approve
Clay
it.
looking at it.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Sanders, second by Commissioner Massey to approve the site plan. Wales Court. Any further discussion? All those in favor? All opposed? Motion carries.
Number 5, inform the board that I wrote a letter, it's attached to your file there, of support as a county restore coordinator for something the Nature Conservancy has asked for. The TNC has been promoting the idea of NERDA, this is another BP set of funds, and other BP funds, to be allocated for projects that improve watersheds. The state of Florida has bought into the idea of watershed planning, and so the TNC is trying to get funding out of the Gulf Council, which is, for Commissioner Jones, is another level of BP money, to create 2 more national estuarine programs in Florida for 2 more watersheds. There is one NEP program in Tampa that is credited with dramatically improving the water quality in Tampa Bay. The TNC has asked the 8 restore coordinators from the 8 impacted counties to support the concept, and their deadline for a letter of support was last Friday. I informed the chairman of their class in my response before I wrote the letter. There is a difference for public's edification. There's a difference between an NEP and an NERR, which is a National Estuarine Research Reserve, which we already have one of. And the difference is a NER is an entity that focuses on research on all aspects of the Apalachicola Bay. But an NEP focuses on improving and maintaining the water quality, and an NEP can seek and solicit grant funds. An ANER can't. An ANER does research, but NEP can go out and get funds to make improvements for water quality. There is no guarantee that an Apalachicola Bay would get an NEP, and my letter does not request an NEP for the Apalachicola Bay, as the TNC asks us not to start promoting one bay over the other, but to support the concept. I believe supporting the concept will help get attention and perhaps funds to Apalachicola Bay, and so I've given you all a copy of my letter. And eventually, Seth Blitch, who's involved in NEPs and was your leader down here of the reserve, is coming back here, and he may make a presentation to you all about the benefits of this thing in the next few months. But this is something that TNC has been promoting, watershed planning, and so we're trying to work with them to see what we can get out of this. All right, that's that. Item number 6, let me put one more map up. Okay, item number 6. Inform the board that with assistance of Commissioner Jones, I have reviewed and I recommend the board submit the following project to FDOT for SIGB funding. SIGB is a county improvement grant county incentive grant program. And this is the grant program that provides improvements to county roads that reduce congestion on the state highway system. And what I recommend you all do, this is in East Point, and I'm going to call it the Creamer Street bypass, for lack of a better term. But there is a county road known Creamer Street that actually crosses Island View, and some people don't, it's slightly jogged off, but it's actually the same street, that we come in on the road behind Taylor's, which is South Franklin, pave Creamer Street across Island Drive, and then go up Begonia, and make that as a bypass, which I think the state would promote because it would provide, an alternative in case there's ever any congestion on 98 or the traffic has to be detoured.
It is bad in there too.
Yeah, there's a lot of local traffic on this road.
It's a bad road, too.
It's bad road too.
The road's in bad shape.
So if you support that, this is not the only grant program that's available. In fact, Michael will be telling you all a little bit that we still have 2 others, and that's the Scott projects. So you still have 2 other grant programs for county roads that don't have any connection to the state highway system. And so before the end of February, we need to come up with 2 more projects. But if we can get this one in the pipeline, I'll have Clay Smallwood give you some numbers on this so that we can get a cost estimate.
Pleasure of the board.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Massey, second by Commissioner Lockley. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That motion carries.
And the last item is, Commissioner, you all have taken a motion or last meeting to find out where a DOT response is. Mr. Morone asked me to check on that, and I was hoping that I would have a response from DOT today. I have spoken to DOT staff about what they're going to say in response to our letter, but it hasn't come here yet, and I hope it will be here by next meeting. And
Every time you breathe.
There's no filter on that mic.
okay.
Oh, that was, I wasn't paying attention. Sorry.
A hurricane coming.
I
So.
wasn't asleep.
Yeah, snoring.
the response most likely will be that they're going to offer some technical assistance on negotiating something with FEMA, but I do not expect them to say, we will take the road.
Aren't they supposed to be coming,
They are supposed to be coming, yes.
FDOT?
Yes, they'll be coming in February 21st, I think.
Second meeting in February.
But we hope we'll have a response before then, so we can talk to them directly about that.
Well, that's what, we'll go back to September, you know, on Alligator Point.
So that's my report, unless there's any questions.
Does any board members have anything for Alan? Thank you, Alan. Next would be the county coordinator report.
All right, Commissioners, good news here. Item number one, board action to authorize the chairman's signature on the FERDAP contract for D.W. Wilson soccer and soccer field and basketball court project. County
Okay.
applied for this. The county applied for this in 2015.
Trying
and
to
was
get it done for you, Smokey.
and it was funded by the legislature in 2016. The board is interested in, if the board is interested in applying for additional FERDAP funding for the upcoming cycle, which will close sometime in the fall, let staff know as soon as possible so we can start the application process.
We definitely want to apply.
Yeah, because you know, we have to figure out how do we get the most points, you know, I think some of the grants, you have to hold, if you hold a public hearing, you get points just for that, you know, so there are things we could do ahead of time before the actual end date to get it done, okay,
Okay.
so.
We do have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Sanders. Who was the second?
I second.
Seconded by Commissioner Lockley. Any further discussion? All those in favor? All opposed? That motion carries.
Board action to authorize the chairman's signature on the contract with Hondo Enterprises for the removal of the derelict vessels. The contract cost is $256,562 for the removal of 13 derelict vessels. This project is funded primarily from the FWC grant funds, except for the county match of $64,141, which is 25%, which will come from the Boating Improvement Fund. Hondo Enterprises was the only company that responded to the county's October 4th RFP for the removal of these vessels.
So moved.
We got a motion on the floor by Commissioner Lockley, second by Commissioner Massey. Any further discussion? All those in favor? All opposed? That motion carries.
Where them people from?
That I gotta go ask Mark, Commissioner. Off the top of my head, I really don't know, but I'll let you know for sure. But they're the only ones that responded when we put out the RFP. Board action to authorize Clay Smallwood of Dewberry Purple Ridge to create a change order to pave the roads that were not included in the road paving project. At your December 20th meeting, the board approved the change order number 2, which was a deductive change order that refunded quantities to the county that were not used. Clay would contact each commissioner to discuss the roads in their district and available funding.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Lockley, second by Commissioner Massey. Any further discussion? All those in favor? All opposed? That motion carries.
Board action to approve a project that will create additional parking on St. George Island. This project will be located on a vacant county property on the corner of Gulf Beach Drive and Chile Boulevard, adjacent to the county's main parking lot. This project will create 16 additional parking spots and drainage that will help alleviate flooding in this area. I will check with the Chili Cookout Board so that there is some way of securing the tents to the paved area during their event. A copy of the conceptual plan is attached to your packet. One thing I want to ask the board if you would consider, being that this parking is primarily used and will be used for during the high tourist season, does anyone mind me approaching TDC and see if they can legally first pay for this and if they have any funding available to pay for it? And in addition to one more thing, I would like this also included, if we find the funding, included in the change order that Clay could add to, I'm sorry, this project added to the change order that we just asked Clay to move forward with.
Michael, I think actually we need to direct Clay to come up with a cost estimate of this so that you have a number to provide.
I'm sorry, he did. I thought it
Oh,
was
it's already
part of the
done.
packet. I thought if you look past the map, I thought it was like for about 50,000. And I do apologize if it's not on there, Commissioner. I thought
Okay, I see it here now. I mean, it was just down below everything else. I think this is a much-needed improvement over on St. George Island. It's the main parking lot. If you go over there during the middle of the summer, by 10:30 in the morning, 11 o'clock, the main parking lot is completely full, and parking is an issue over there. having said that, you know, we've been talking about the permits, the county permits for the right-of-ways and all this, and we need to move forward on that ordinance also. So whoever would like to make a motion, if the board agrees that we need this additional parking, and I think we do, to include directing the attorney to move us forward on that issue as far as, you know, we haven't issued any permits this year because we were anticipating including.
Public hearing scheduled for February the 7th.
Okay, so we're already moving forward on that issue.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So-
Okay, can I ask a question, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, ma'am.
Can we use any more of the land to pay? Because, I mean, you're gonna need, and if you've already got them in there, let's go ahead and pay the whole
Well,
thing, if we can use it for that.
Well, you guys tell me, here's my problem, Alan has to chime in here. I wanted to leave the other half of the property we own more pervious so that with rain and flood, we always get complained about flooding in that area, so
That's-
I was a little worried about paving the entire thing, and how would that negatively affect the chili cook-off event? That's the only two.
That's where they put their big auction tent at every year, in
Yeah.
that corner. And
What?
I'd actually mentioned to Michael and to Clay that leaving this impervious allows a place for the drainage of this parking lot to
Okay.
go in
Yes,
and
well-
percolate. Yeah, it allows it to percolate. Because if you don't, if you pave all that, the water's gotta go somewhere.
Yeah.
But
And if we
Commissioners,
put it off on another person's land, then we're gonna be in trouble there. So we need to leave part of that impervious where that it can drain.
to her point though, we could maybe ask Clay to order additional wheel stops and actually put wheel stops in the unpaved park, so there's still additional parking there, it just won't be paved. I don't know how the board feels about
That
that.
was another thing we
Yeah.
talked about, Michael, was using this for unimproved parking when it's not being utilized by the chili cook-off. Yeah, we need all the parking we can get
That's what
there.
I'm saying, because that is sure a congested area.
It really
Right
is.
there.
It really is.
So Clay, do you think we could get 16 more on the other side, or 15 roughly?
And just put the stops in the
Yes, ma'am.
dirt. you
Yeah, and
know.
just have it at unimproved, maybe put some rock or something in there where it still percolate and serve as a drainage basin for the impervious area there.
And
So, I'm all
Commissioner
for the project.
Sanders?
I'll go ahead and make a motion to go ahead and approve it.
Second.
And with the changes.
We have a motion by Commissioner Sanders, second by Commissioner Jones. Any further discussion? You had something to add,
I was
Mike?
going to ask Commissioner Sanders, is it something, Commissioner, we could put on the TDC agenda for the next meeting as to for
Just
funding?
Contact
If it's possible?
Kurt and tell him you won't put it on there.
Okay. I mean, I don't know if we can or not, but I'd like to know, at
Well,
least
I
check
mean, it's
into it.
directly related to tourism.
Yes.
Well, and it's for the chili, basically for the chili cook-off and different.
And
functions
summer,
that bring
summer
people
parking,
in.
yes, ma'am.
You know what the mission of the church development is?
Yes.
Heads in beds.
All right.
Well, he said,
It is.
he got more money in this month, I meant, this year. We gonna spend it.
Yeah.
I'll ask.
We did have a motion and a second on this. Any further discussion? All those in favor? All opposed? That motion carries.
Item number 5, board action to accept Mr. Doug Schuler's recommendation to award the Carabel Beach Park and St. George Island bathrooms renovation project. Mr. Schuler, the project architect, recommends awarding the project to Polaronis Construction. Polaronis Construction was the lowest responsive bidder. However, there is not enough funding to complete both projects this year. And since the Carabel bathrooms require more immediate repairs, staff decided to move forward with that project and will discuss the St. George Island project when funds become available. Mr. Schuler and Mr. Polaronis will negotiate the scope of work to bring the project under the $120,000 budgeted amount before a contract is presented for signature. Now, I've been asked by a few people, wouldn't it be cheaper to tear it down and build it back up? I asked that of, not Attorney Schuler, of Mr. Schuler. He said no. He ran some numbers where he just did a project up in Liberty County where he built a vault of some sort for Liberty County for the courthouse. If you use those same numbers roughly, and he said being on the coast, he had to go with the high end, he said it would cost us $200,000 to tear down the bathrooms and rebuild them.
Other than,
In Carabel, yes, ma'am. So, no, the answer to that question is no, it won't be cheaper to tear it down and build it back up.
and we can renovate it to where we don't have no problem, because these bathrooms was made in 69,
Yes.
70. And, anyway,